Ebro in the morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be celebrating and giving our respect and prayers and blessings to the family and anybody affected by the passing of Craig Mack, who we found out this morning passed away at the age of 46. I'm sure later on in the program we'll talk about what we know with regard to his passing and what his life has been the last few years of not being in and around the music. Because he opted out of that and decided to follow his spiritual, path. I guess I'll call it. Some people say he was in a cult, whatever, what have you. But hopefully he was happy in what he was doing.
Yeah, and he was working on a documentary just before he passed. So maybe we'll get some more information as time goes on, from that documentary. But he is he's sort of a somewhat mysterious character in hip hop because he had this huge moment that he was such a part of, and then went away, and started the bad boy movement.
The first bad boy certified smash was Flavor in Your Ear.
What different level?
Play
smash?
that again coming up. You got that handy? You got that ready?
I'm just putting a little. You know what I'm saying? Just
we learned about Uniblabs this morning from the Jetsons. Man, there was a lot going on.
When do I get a chance to, play some joints?
You want to play some? How many joints you want to play?
This whole morning he's been hinting.
I got I just got 4 or 5. It's not crazy,
Ebro,
but 4 or 5 joints. And all
how's
of
it
them
gonna sound when you play?
Ebro, you gotta let me DJ.
Super clean. I'm not gonna do anything crazy.
I got joints.
You mean like the blends or something?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna try to change the game.
You gonna jugga? Good.
I'm not gonna go crazy because we don't have the vinyl Serato. We just have CDJ, so I don't go crazy on CDJ. I hit my cue points, keep it basic, Yeah. Because if I had the vinyl, the beginning of that Get Down, he did a lot of things. A lot of Craig Mack's records were DJ dreams. The beginning of Flavor in Your Ear remix. You know how many people used to bring up back the beginning?
Making moves.
All of it. All of his records
Get
were
down.
really. Man.
There was a 1994 MTV Raps interview. Puff was on there with B.I.G. and Mac, and they was talking about working on Mac's second album. Supposed to drop in that January, and Craig Mack himself appeared puzzled by Puff's statement. Y'all know that Craig Mack put out an album in 2017.
I did not know this.
It's called the Mack World Sessions. 18 records on it.
Oh, I did just see that on iTunes, and it had a couple not hits, but later records that I remembered. Remember the one with the Frank Sinatra sample, the whoever was, whoops, there goes another rough.
Yeah.
Had a couple of those joints on there too.
He was also working on a documentary about his life, guys. So hopefully we'll be able to see that later on.
Yeah, the Mack World Sessions. Now, I guess if we're really recounting Craig Mack's life correctly, we would point out that he decided at some point that living in this mainstream atmosphere of hip-hop wasn't for him. And he moved to South Carolina, moved his whole family down there to Walterboro, South Carolina, that's where he actually passed away.
Right.
He joined the Overcomers Ministry. And even, he put out some records there. There's some videos you can find online. Craig always said he planned to stay a part of this movement, this spiritual religious movement. News stories say his family wasn't all the way with what he was doing spiritually. He claims all my family's down here in South Carolina. But the news stories kind of sort that it was people thought he was in a cult.
Well, and didn't he also, Scratch wrote on IG earlier that Craig had said anyone who thought that he should do commercial music, he really looked down on. He was like, no, please don't try to make me do mainstream stuff.
Yep.
He only wanted to do religious-based stuff.
Yeah, because, that's the part of his life that he was living. You know what I mean? That's his state of mind at that point.
Craig believed that what he was doing in New York was wickedness. And in South Carolina, he was living a righteous life. And it was righteousness.
And I guess that's why he wasn't a part of the Bad Boy reunion tour.
Yeah. And Craig said he always planned to stay a part of this movement and that he respects no one who wants him to come back to mainstream rapping.
Now, listen, that's a quote from Scratch, but still interesting, right?
Yeah, it's also on when you look up Craig's Wikipedia, it's in there.
So the conversation I remember having recently in a cab with Bomani Jones from ESPN, we were talking about Craig Mack, and he was like, can you think of anyone else who had a record as big as Flavor in Your Ear, who you never see perform the song? Like, not even at halftime at a Knicks game, right? Like, nothing.
Yeah.
He just completely went away, which is one of the, like, I don't know if I can think of another example. I mean, like, you know, T. La Rock, It's Yours. T. La Rock was in like he had gotten injured and had been in like a health institution for years and years and years. And even then, he's come back.
Right.
And everyone comes back eventually, you know, whether it's Roxanne Shante, who has a documentary coming out on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean,
Everyone
but also,
comes back.
too, you know, I guess the sad part about this story today is that, you know, Craig Mack may not have even got his chance to come back around, you know, because he passed away. How old was he?
46.
46 years old. So, you know, life changes. People change. Not saying he would have wanted to, because based on what he was saying and has been saying, even up until his release of last year, he wasn't interested. You know, he could have went on the Bad Boy reunion tour. I was told by people that were working on it that they reached out to him. He wasn't interested. He didn't want to be fake. He didn't want to perform songs that represented a life that he didn't live anymore.
Yeah, that was his past.
I just want to know when the line turned. Was it was it because he wasn't interested, or was it a situation, and this is the hard question we have to ask Puff, or was it something where Puff was fully invested in Biggie and was no longer interested?
Could have been.
You know, because he never got a second album on Bad Boy. And while he didn't go platinum with his first album with Project Funk the World, he went gold, and he had a single that went platinum.
But Big, you know, B.I.G. was having so much success with that first album. Maybe, you know, who knows what the circumstances were. You know, we'll be speculating unless we hear, you know, from this documentary. Hopefully Craig Mack has told his side of things in this documentary that he was working on. And, you know, when Puff decides to, you know, share some insight too, maybe we'll hear from that. Hell, maybe we'll even hear from some of the people who's, you know, D. Angeletti and people who've been working on these, you know, projects, and we're working on these, Stevie J, and people who are part of the Bad Boy thing back then in the 90s.
Well, I bet we have people listening right now, by the way, who are probably friends and family.
Right.
I just heard from G Mims, a buddy of mine who's a rapper in the city, who's DJ Red Alert's son, said Craig Mack's also a cousin on his mother's side, which I did not know.
Oh,
There you
wow.
go.
So, can I play one last little thing?
Of course,
You have time? One last little thing. This
Snow's
is
coming down, man. We saying R.I.P. to Craig Mack right now.
only because this is the only place you could hear something like this. This is the Craig Mack Funk Flex freestyle.
Red dot, X marks the spot. You're nervous, so now sweat like it's hot. No wins, plus I got mad skins, I make ends. Bought the tape, thanks, I bought the Benz. Won't cease, put your head peace. I'm the man, John devoted in Greece. I shake, I'm earthquake, the epicenter. Center, mentor, venture. Whole frame, no fame, still the same. Still rain, still there. Still don't care, still easy. Still can't defeat me, my style dyslexic, so don't try to read.